Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Welcome back to some more Chelsea news. This is the last Chelsea before Christmas, so a very Merry Christmas if you are celebrating, and obviously a Happy New Year as well. And today we're going to be discussing Antoine Semenyo saying no to Chelsea. We're also going to be talking about what Maresca has had to say, injury updates. We can have a slight preview on Aston Villa as well, but I think a lot of it is just running through the latest updates that you may or may not already know about. So if you haven't already, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel as well, and big up to everyone that's in here. Let's smash that like button. And let's start off very, very strong. If you're on X, you can still support via a retweet or a like as well. You can also come on to YouTube. And on YouTube, guys, let's see if we can get straight up to 25 likes off the back. Okay, big up to everyone. Now, I did a stream yesterday about Semenyo, and the timing of it was great, actually, in the sense that I was able to basically give you live updates as we were going through everything, and we were getting, things from The Guardian. We had things from The Times. Fabrizio was involved. Nizar Kinsella was involved. The BBC. So you're seeing all this information coming out. Ben Jacobs as well. You're seeing all this information, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, there's clearly something there, because otherwise everyone wouldn't be putting briefs about it. I guess the question is, how serious is it? And then this is the frustrating part, is that it actually filled me with some hope. It actually filled me with some hope. And I remember the chat. They said, Alex, don't let this get to you right now. Don't have too much hope. It's the hope that kills you. I said, guys, come on. Be positive. What's all this complaining about? What's all this negativity? We might not get him, but hey, listen, at least we're in with a chance. I'm seeing some of the updates coming out, and I'm thinking to myself, do you know what? Maybe there's actually an opportunity, because apparently Semenyo was settled on Man City. And then Chelsea came into the race, and it was like, oh, that's the way everyone made it seem. Oh, he doesn't know what to pick now. Nobody knows where Semenyo's going to go. And you're seeing some of the stuff, some of the quotes coming out. And I'm thinking, okay, well, let's try and be logical here. We're still a pretty big club. We're not actually that bad. Let's be honest. And then you see some of the stuff that that was reported. Chelsea value him. He's obviously had a history with Chelsea. He was worn the shirt. He said "we" when he's speaking about Chelsea. He knows he'd get game time at Chelsea. It's London. It's good for his family. Apparently, all the wage packets were similar. All the wage offers were said to be similar, according to Nizar Kinsella and the BBC. And, and then you're hearing all this stuff about Semenyo prioritizing a club that he believes can provide him with what he views as the most suitable project to compete for major trophies on a long-term basis. And then the location and impact on his family will also be a contributing factor. So it's like, I'm thinking to myself, guys, this is not the worst brief that I'm not hearing a brief that's making me upset. This is giving me some hope, and that's where I was wrong to think that way. I mean, I wasn't certain we were going to get Semenyo, but I said we've got a 25% chance, whatever it is. If there's 4 or 3 other clubs in for him, Tottenham doesn't count. And then literally as soon as I finished streaming, we had David Ornstein and Sky coming out, and all these people basically saying that Semenyo prefers to join Man City. That's what we heard from David Ornstein. And Sky reported that Chelsea have decided against a potential bid for Semenyo due to the depth, the strength in depth they already have out wide. They have Palmer, Esteval, George, Gittins, Garnacho, and Neto. It's like, come on, man. Fuck's sake. Are you serious? Is this honestly what we're looking at right now? There's my Christmas present from Chelsea. Merry Christmas. You know, it's like a secret Santa where people try and hype up. Oh, I know what you're getting, Alex. Oh, I overheard. I saw something. I'm sure I saw it. And you're thinking, oh, my God. I asked for something quite good. I don't know. Let's just say what's relatively expensive? Like a video game. I don't know, like a PS5 game. 55 quid, whatever it is, 60 quid. That's pretty good. Really? Are they actually going to get me that? That's what I've asked for. And then Christmas Day comes. Everyone goes to do Secret Santa. And you get this book that you've never asked for. You don't even read. You've never spoken about this book. And you get some sort of book. I don't even know what it's about. Something boring. Oh, my God. Oh, I've always wanted that. I've always wanted that book. No. That's what it feels like. It feels like we've been done over a little bit. And some people have reacted very, very angrily to the news. And I'm thinking, I understand your frustration. I understand your anger. But we're not in a terrible position. As much as people want us to be, that's honestly the way it comes across at times. Like, I appreciate that. But if we look at where Chelsea are at the moment, if we look at how we are progressing, I guess the word is progression, isn't it? That's ultimately what you're looking for. We're currently 4th in the table. We're within 10 points of first. And I think that things can change very quickly. Now, do I think that we're going to win the league? No. Do I think that we're going to continue to be in and around sort of the 10 to 12 point mark of first place? I would honestly say yes, because I don't see how that couldn't be the case for us. And then we've got Aston Villa 7 points ahead of us. You've got Liverpool with so many weaknesses on 29 points, equal with us. You've got Sunderland on 27. You've got Man United on 26th. Crystal Palace on 26 as well. So, I mean, this league is up for grabs, isn't it? It's up for grabs. And ultimately, you're just going to have to get a run of results. Do I think Chelsea can do that? Yes, I do. But that doesn't mean that I wasn't disappointed with not getting Semenyo. I mean, I would have loved the guy. But I am still a fan of Neto. I'm still a fan of Esteval. I like Garnacho. I don't love him, but I like him. I think Gittins is poor. I think George is poor. Those are two players I don't really have time for them, if I'm honest. I like Gittins in the sense that he can have moments, but, you know, I have moments where I want to go to the gym. Those moments aren't very often. That's the truth of it. So moments means nothing. You're not going to get a six-pack if you don't go to the gym every day. And you're not going to become a consistent player for Chelsea that's at least supported by the fan base unless you're performing most of the time. And there's no doubt that Semenyo would have given us a level of confidence, knowing that not only do we have depth, but we actually have a little bit of depth now that we can count on. I mean, just think of it like this. If we had Neto and Semenyo starting games, let's just say now on the left, just for the sake of this argument, and then you've got a player like Esteval or Garnacho that can come off the bench, I think that's pretty good. You know, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that both of those players can have a decent impact. But when you see players like George and Gibbs, I never feel particularly great about having them in our squad. And that's where the depth just needs to improve. It's not even like this was an expensive deal either. 65 million is peanuts compared to what Bournemouth would have demanded if there wasn't a release clause. They would have asked for 80 mil, I reckon, and they would have got it. I honestly think they would have got it, because this is a guy, when I looked at his stats yesterday, he's been so consistent for, this is his second season of really doing very well. And I take my hat off to Semenyo. I take my hat off. You are a fantastic player, and we would have loved to have had him. Anyone who says differently, we would have loved to have had him. I guess the real kick in the teeth is actually if you believed what you were reading. And I had an element of hope, definitely. We got to Big Boy. I feel good about what Semenyo decided. Well, are you a Chelsea fan? Jordan, big up to you. I hope you're doing well. Can't believe we didn't win against Newcastle. Big up to Pierre as well. Smash that like button, guys. If you haven't already smashed that like button, please do. It makes a huge difference. All the support is very much. What else have we got? Semenyo only going to Man City to win silverware and probably paid him more wages. Well, we heard the wages were similar. So, I mean, how much more is valuable? We figured out yesterday that a wage of, my lighting is just playing up today. It's working now. It's very bright. I think I might have to get some new lights, guys. Just doesn't want to work. That's on my Secret Santa list. Get me some lights. All right, it's literally just decided to stop working. All right. One more time. So far, so good. Yeah. I don't think the wages were the main issue, but I think maybe that could have been a contributing factor. We figured out last stream that if he was on 50k extra a week, then over the course of a year, he'd been making 2.5 million extra. And if he's on a 5-year contract, that's 12 million. So I think once you start getting into that bracket, it does make a difference. But ultimately, I don't think it's the biggest thing in the world, because these guys are still paid millions. So I don't think money is everything. I think the footballing project carries some weight. Why am I falling for PR? I know, man. I know. But listen, I'm not here to just be grumpy all day. I'd like to have a bit of excitement over Christmas. I'd like to. And maybe that I said this, that could have been our present. Just the couple of hours of hope that we actually believe we might have been able to sign Semenyo. But we've been brought back down to reality. Merry Christmas to you, Harry. Hope you're doing well. Yesterday was a load of trash. It's true. Chelsea dropped out of the race to sign Semenyo faster than Bonnie Blue drops her clothes. I mean, yeah, we didn't really put up much of a fight there, did we? You think he would have ended up on the bench? I don't agree with that, man. He would have been straight in my lineup. I'm not going to lie. I would have started him ahead of all of them, including Neto, who I love. Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much, Pierre. Right, let's continue on this. So, yeah, we're seeing all of the updates coming out, and it just gets worse and worse. The more you look into it, it just gets worse. That's the truth of it. You see this update from the Sun. Semenyo was not interested in Chelsea's project. So then, of course, we're going to pull out of the deal. If there's no interest, there's no genuine interest, what are we doing here? This is his current wage at Bournemouth, 75k base, 100k with bonuses. He's going to double that, maybe go up to 250. And fair play to the man, honestly. The thing is, the deal's not that big that you could have afforded to pay an extra sort of 100k. 100k a week is 25 million over 5 years. And you would have paid an extra 20 million in transfer fees anyway if there wasn't this release clause. So, I mean, I'm not against giving him a pretty good wage for that reason. But yeah, man, the guy wasn't interested. The guy was not interested at all. And that's the truth. And when we talk about our levels dropping, like, ultimately, I don't really care if we still have success. That's the truth. I don't really care. But it's nice to have the buzz of signing a new player. It's nice to have that, you know, as someone coming in the door, especially someone when there's been a lot of competition around for that player, and they come in and they go, Chelsea's the biggest club out there. I love Chelsea. I love the history of Chelsea. I want to win trophies with Chelsea, like all of this stuff. And they sort of prop up your ego, and you think, "Wow, I like that. I like hearing that." Don't you love it when a player does that? You know, it's like with Esteval. That was a good win, wasn't it? When we got him, we beat a lot of competition. You know, as well as Caicedo choosing Chelsea, Lavia choosing Chelsea, Enzo Fernandez. Like, it's very pleasant. But we can win trophies and we can have success without Semenyo. But no doubt that he would have made life easier for us. No doubt. We were able to win the double last season, whether you want to call it the Mickey Mouse double or not. A trophy is a trophy, and we still got top 4. I think that progression this season looks something like this. You retain Champions League football and you get a higher points tally than you did last season. So higher than 69 points, closing that gap. And you win a domestic cup. And you have a respectable campaign in the Champions League, which means getting past the group stage, the league phase, and ideally getting into like the quarters or something like that. You know, that's like a respectable campaign from where we were to where we are now. So that's what I'm looking for. But City are a different animal. They are a different animal. You can't deny it. When you're looking at Maresca and Guardiola, Guardiola's always going to have more pull, just for the reason that he's been around longer and he's done more in the game. So I don't really have a massive amount more to say about it, other than it would have been great. And I think that honestly, Semenyo he fits the profile as well. That's another thing that's frustrated me, is I think that he would have fit Maresca's system. You know, people talk about Morgan Rogers at Aston Villa, and I think, okay, you know, I love Morgan Rogers. He's in my fantasy football team. I'm a big fan of him. He can score goals. He's creative. He can dribble. Very, very fun player to watch. But he doesn't strike me as a player that fits into Maresca's system. You know, like, he doesn't strike me as a touchline winger. I also don't understand why we would buy him if he was a 10 anyway, because you have Palmer in that position. You have Esteval, who wants to play in that position. At least that's what his agent says. And yeah, I just don't see Morgan Rogers fitting that profile. Just like, to be honest, I don't really see Palmer as a touchline winger. When I see him as a winger, I see him as a winger with freedom. And I don't think you really get that with Maresca. So, hey. Don't agree with your stance this season regarding the squad. What don't you agree with? Merry Christmas to you. I don't believe anything the Twitter journalists say now. Well, listen, it's not about believing, but I mean, we're here to talk about it, aren't we? It's a fan channel, so you can agree with it, you can disagree with it. Pure profit scam getting exposed by Minerals. Oh, we always knew they wanted to make profit, no doubt about that. So, Alex, you are happy with another mediocre season under Clearlake. What is the deadline you have put for when Clearlake has to give us the Premier League? The deadline? Well, I wouldn't say I'm as black and white as that. I just want us to get better. That's really all I care about. As long as we're improving, then I don't understand why I would complain. I mean, a project is all about improving, isn't it? It's like if you went to the gym and you said, right, in X amount of time, I want a six-pack. If you said, I want a six-pack in 2 weeks, it doesn't really work. If you said, I want a six-pack in a year, then you've got a chance. And I think, you know, that's the truth of it. You've got to look at the way we invest, who we're investing in, our recruitment strategy, our ability to win with what we currently have, and where we came from. So we came from a position where we stripped everything that Roman Abramovich built. We stopped buying ready-made players after Clear Lake took control. Bowley did sign ready-made players. People seem to, you know, forget that when they criticize Bowley. He actually did that, but he didn't know what he was doing. You know, so Sterling, Koulibaly, all of those guys. There was a lot of there was some bad ones. There was some bad eggs in there. But there were some good ones as well. You know, Cucurella was signed under the Bowley regime. Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, I think would have been. Yeah, I think Bowley might have been in control at that point as well, potentially. So, like all of the big hitters in terms of ready-made players, we spent extortionate money on, and we gave them good wages. Well, for Fafana, like that's Bowley, and Clear Lake is the opposite side. That's Estevan, that's Palmer, that's Jackson. It seems like that's where the influence comes from. So when you're signing players like that, of course I'm gonna be more patient because I'm not deluded. And I know that you're not going to win a league straight away with Jackson or Palmer, who I'd never heard of at the time, right? I wouldn't have said that we're going to win the league with this guy or that he could be a part of a title-winning side playing regularly. So to answer your question more specifically, I would say that next season, I expect us to be better than we are this season. And if I'm saying that this season we wouldn't need to win a domestic trophy and retain top four and basically be respectable in all competitions, then that means the following season we need to challenge for a title. And challenging means you've got to be a little bit closer than what we are now. I mean, I wouldn't say we're in a title race, but I would say that we're certainly a team that can enter the chat again. 10 points is not a lot. That's just over 3 games, right? So that can change. Things can change very, very quickly. Am I willing to accept top 3 regularly and win that? That's not what I said. That's not what I said at all. What I said is I want us to improve every year. So if improving means going from 4th to 3rd, that is progression. Black and white. I mean, you want black and white. That's the truth. It's progression. But then I want to go from 3rd to at least 2nd or 1st. And I want to go from 2nd to 1st. That there's no downward cycle. This is an upwards trajectory. If we don't progress, my opinion will change, which is why I support Maresca at the moment, because he's clearly improved the squad and the team. You might not like Maresca, but you can't deny he did better than the season prior under Poch. You might not like Poch, but 6th is a lot better than 12th. And a cup final and a cup semi-final is a lot better than the season before. And that's what we did. And then we went on and we won 2 and we got top 4. It's the epitome of progression. You might not be happy with it, but that's the truth. So we can improve our point tally for 5 more years and don't win the Premier League like Arsenal. You call it progress. I mean, it's like saying that you're unhappy with your team not winning the league if you finished on 99 points and the other team finished on 100. Would you say that it's a disgrace if that happened, right? Like, I just want us to improve. What the fuck is so hard to understand about that? I want us to improve. Get better. As long as I see you improving, then I can appreciate the work that you're doing. You know, it's really not that complicated. There was a time where I worked in sales, and my first month, they said, okay, we want you to generate like 10 grand for the company. And then the following month, it was 15, 20, 25, 30. And it went up to like 50. All right. And, you know, that's because you're not going to win straight away. And as long as you keep going up, then you're getting somewhere. If we're getting worse, you make a perfectly fair argument. But are we getting worse? Are we worse than we were 2 years ago? Are we worse than we were a year ago? That's the question I have. So it's really not a case of me having no standards. It's just me having standards and also having a brain so that I can see that, you know what, even though we're not winning trophies, which I'm unhappy about. Well, by the way, actually, we did win 2 trophies. You know, I can see that we're getting closer. And that's it. Front of shirt sponsors. I know there was a lot of stuff about the front of shirt sponsors. I mean, we have been pretty pathetic in that sense. Absolutely pathetic. For a club that cares so much about their business acumen, that is just a joke. And also, if you would have just signed a front of shirt sponsor, you could have frozen free season ticket prices for literally the whole period that you were involved with the club, and instead you put the burden on all of the fans to try and keep up with it. Honestly, it's ridiculous. In terms of Vivid Seats, they're investigating it. As far as I'm aware, the Premier League, there's an investigation. Maresca has improved his waffling. Hey, practice. There you go. He's been practicing. Continued improvement is progress. That's it. That's it. That's all it is, you know? And nobody can argue with that. And that's why I don't really have a lot of people. I mean, there are some people, but generally people agree with my stance. Is that you can be unhappy and change your opinion, but there's a reason that I'm able to change my opinion and still project the way I am, because I don't work for the club. I'm watching the club. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. You can flip for whatever reason. It might be because Chelsea finally win a trophy. It might be because we're playing better football. It might be because you find some of the players that we have a little bit more attractive, you know? It's nicer having Estevao and Palmer than what we had a couple of years ago. It's better to have players like that than João Felix and Madueke, whatever it is. Everyone's going to have their own reasons for supporting what we're doing or not, and that's fine. But Alex, 99 and 100 points are exceptions, not the rule. I know we don't win straight away, but as fans, we should demand Premier League titles, Champions League. Nobody remembers an 87-point season if we finish second. But no, you're correct. You're absolutely correct. I guess then I'd ask you the question, would you sack Arteta if you were at Arsenal? Would you sack him? Would you sack him? Do you think anyone else would do a better job? I mean, that's pretty much like sort of a good comparison. If I was at Arsenal, I mean, I don't even know what their points tallies have been. Let's have a look, because Arsenal's probably the best. I mean, that seems to be the tally over the years. Let's have a look at the Arsenal points tally. Come on, man. Can I just see it on the table? I can actually. I can see the table. Right, should we share our screen? Why not? I enjoy these chats. Let's see. So last season, 74 points. So let's just go back. When did Arteta first get the job? 2020, whatever it was. Damn. 56 points in his first season. Jesus, man. What year is that? 2019. And I think Emery was there at that point. But maybe Arteta had just come in. Something like that. So they went from 59 to 61. And then they went on to 69. And then 84. '89. And then they went back down to 74. Okay. So, I mean, in terms of league form and progression, I mean, Arsenal's a very unique club and, you know, they're nothing like us. But from what I'm seeing right now, their progression is clear, except for last season. All right. I would say this, if they don't win trophies this year under Arteta, I think he should be under some serious pressure. But I actually think that Arteta's done a great job at Arsenal. I think he's done a great job. And people can be unhappy with finishing second, but you look at when Arteta came into the club, they were 8th. So it's not a case of being happy with finishing second, but it's understanding that there's a good chance you could go back down. So I don't know if that answers your question. But he has been given a real backing. He has been backed. He has been backed. I honestly I think that there's a good reason to put him under pressure, and if he's not winning trophies this year. Sacking him. Is anyone else going to do a better job? Is anyone else going to do a better job? Just like if you sack Maresca, is anyone else going to do a better job? And then I'm sure a lot of you would say, yes. Is that person going to take the job? Are they going to accept the job at Chelsea? And then I think you'll find that a lot of the answers will be no. So yeah, that's my opinion on it, guys. Just improve gradually. Improve. And we are improving. And when we don't improve, I will happily say that. But we are not going backwards as it stands. We are currently on an upwards trajectory. Now, let's see what else is going on. What's Maresca been saying? Okay, Maresca's been talking about injuries. He's been talking about everything else going on. Esteval is back, and he is available for Saturday. And also Liam Delap is back in the picture as well. So both of them are back, Esteval and Liam Delap. I'm not going to lie to you. That's very positive. Very, very positive. But I don't see Esteval starting, and I don't see Delap starting. I would expect both of them to be on the bench and potentially not even coming on if we can get away with it. I think in an ideal world, you know, we'd probably end up starting Garnacho and Neto and still finding a way to win the game. João Pedro as well, probably. And then against Bournemouth, we can rotate a little bit more and experiment. I've never been a fan of rushing players back. That's one thing I quite like about Maresca is his ability to manage players when they're injured. I have these debates all the time with people outside the ground, mostly older fans, and they go, well, back in the day, Mourinho used to just play a strongest 11 every week. And I go, well, back in the day, did Mourinho play a game every 3 or 4 days? Like, was that normal? And did they have a summer break? Did they have time to recover? Like, these are all questions that we know the schedule's got worse. We know that. And managers have to adapt to it. They have to adapt to it. So yeah, I don't have an issue with rotation, as long as generally speaking it works. And I think that Maresca, in a difficult circumstance, has done an okay job of rotating. I don't think it's been fantastic. I don't think it's been terrible. I think it's been okay. Here's what Maresca had to say. He said, "We didn't know exactly how long Liam would be out for, but he is back on Saturday, and we are happy to have both him and Esteval available." Obviously, Palmer's back in action. He's had his minutes managed carefully since returning, and Maresca stated that he's now ready to feature for 90 minutes against Aston Villa if required. He played for an hour against Everton, more than 70 minutes against Newcastle. So Maresca thinks the progression is there. He's feeling good, and Maresca thinks he could play for 90 minutes now. He also said it will be a very tough game for us, and we will have to be at our very best because Aston Villa are playing very well. They have a clear way of playing, and they are very organized both on and off the ball. They are full of confidence at the moment, but we are at home and we are trying to get the 3 points as we always do. We will work hard and continue to grow. So, yeah, that's some of the stuff that Maresca said on, at least on Chelsea's website. They obviously didn't speak about one of the questions that he was asked, whether he would swap Cole Palmer for Morgan Rogers. I mean, I'm not going to lie, whichever journalist asked that, I think that's a little bit cheeky. That is cheeky, isn't it? I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying, are you interested in a player? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But to come out and say, would you swap this player that's currently in your squad, one of your best players as well, for another top player of another team? Would you swap that? That's cheeky, man. I've got an analogy in my head, but it doesn't really work. It's like going to a married man and saying, would you swap your wife for his wife? Yeah, of course I would. Of course I would. You're getting a beating. Nobody is going to say that they want to swap their players in a press conference. And if anyone does that, they should be sacked because it's stupid. Absolutely, yeah, stupid. On a more intriguing note, the Carabao Cup semi-final fixtures are out. Chelsea versus Arsenal. We've got the first leg at Stamford Bridge, and the second leg is going to be away at Arsenal. So there you go. This is the info we've got. 14th of January at Stamford Bridge, and then the 3rd of Feb. For a final place at Wembley, our favourite place in the world. We love Wembley, don't we, Chelsea? We love Wembley. We have such a great time at Wembley. Not. But hopefully we can change that. So my honest opinion is that as much as people might disagree with me, I don't think Arsenal's much easier or harder than Palace. I honestly wouldn't have been particularly happy with either of them. Having said that, I'd rather play Arsenal or Palace than City or Newcastle. So I think in that sense, we've done all right. I think Newcastle away in the Cup would have been a very, very difficult game. I think City would just lose. And on a final, in a final, anything can happen. I like the way Maresca lines up in certain games. And in big games as well, there's this sort of acceptance in terms of style, especially in a final or a semi-final, that, you wouldn't necessarily have in a Premier League game if you won the game, but it was really unattractive to watch and not particularly entertaining. In league games, people would lose patience unless you're top of the league, basically. I mean, that's the only way you can get away with it. But in a cup final, you can just play however you want to play, which I think Maresca will set up in a very pragmatic way. I also think that Arteta will do the same. But the difference between Maresca and Arteta in terms of their approach is that Maresca has a winning formula that's clicked into place very quickly with an inexperienced side. And Arteta's sort of constantly been building up his team to improve a little bit more. And they don't really have a lot to show for it. What is it? An FA Cup and a Community Shield? I mean, that is dog. In 7 years, you could only win an FA Cup and a Community Shield. You guys are just pathetic. But I honestly don't. I don't have an issue with playing Arsenal. I would have rather played Arsenal in a final because then they could bottle it again. But we'll have to just kick them out in the semis. You can't choose everything, can you, guys? Do I think Maresca will be asking for a centre-back in January? Listen, I think he's always wanted a centre-back, but I don't think he'll get it. So that's the truth. That's the truth. Have we lost our pull? I don't think we've lost our pull because we had pull in the summer. Whether you want to admit it or not, we did have pull in the summer. You know, we still have pull. It's a case of money talks with a lot of these players. I don't know the difference in wage for Semenyo and from Man City and Chelsea. I don't know what the difference would be, but apparently it was all quite similar. So that tells you that Man City had some sort of pull. But we win a lot of those battles. So I'm not even too worried about that. Embarrassing with no shirt sponsorship, and Damac didn't last long, only had it for a few games. Yeah, man, if we don't get a sponsor, that is just ridiculous. And then if they increase season ticket prices, it just goes to show you are incompetent. And, you know, it's crazy, man. You know, it's some of the stuff that you hear. So unaware of everything that's going on with the actual fan base, and you can't even handle the commercial side. And you want to act like you understand what we're going through. If Arteta was given quality players and not getting Garnacho level players, yes, I would sack him because I know Arsenal won't go for a championship manager like we do. Fair point. Top four looks a bit difficult. Liverpool is gaining momentum there. We'll be fine, mate. We'll be absolutely fine. I'm not too worried about Liverpool. But having said that, that's based on the fact that we can keep it together ourselves. Philip Luis will be an upgrade, and yes, he would accept the job. Fair. I don't see us going for Philip Luis, but who knows? Is he saying or reading the script? Who knows? Who knows, guys? I think I think Maresca's been okay in recent press conferences, in the sense that after the outburst, he's sort of it's like he's playing with reporters. He's just having a bit of fun with it. But he got his message across, which is everything that he wanted and more. He doesn't have to say anything else because he already got his message across. We understand what he was saying. I am fully backing Maresca because that poor guy has been given a top 4 challenging squad only. Okay, good. I think we're on the same page then. I appreciate we don't have a title-winning squad, which is why I'm not putting pressure on us to win a title, the Premier League this season, as in like an expectation that needs to happen. That should be the expectation. Of course it should, but difficult when you don't have the players. So yes, if we can creep up a little bit more, then we'll be on track for a much better season, but that means you need the cherry on top. Do we like getting the cherry on top? It doesn't look like we like the cherry very much. We like having icing, but we don't like having any toppings, you know? Back in the day, Jose won majors for us, yeah, with Drogba and Lampard and Terry. Yeah, it's a little bit easier when you've got that. Merry Christmas, Brian. Merry Christmas, Kucha Criminal as well. Good to see you guys. And smash that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. It makes a huge difference, guys. Really appreciate everyone that is on here today. And do you know what? I'm going to wrap it up there because, to be honest with you, I've said pretty much everything that I wanted to say about Semenyo and that situation. And what I'm going to try and do, guys, is I'm going to try and do more lives, but I want it to be consistent. And there's no point going live every day for no reason. So if there's stuff going on, guys, I'm going to try and keep it going. If there's not, then you won't see as much. But really appreciate everyone regardless. Show some love. Merry Christmas to all of you and a Happy New Year as well, wherever you are in the world.